There is a level of discipline that does not require motivation, a level that does not bend when you are tired, does not break when you are in pain, and does not listen when your mind begs you to stop. It is a terrifying level of commitment. And today, you will learn the ancient system designed not to build discipline, but to become it. Have you ever wondered about the legends? The monks who could meditate for days in the freezing cold, the warriors who could train for 12 hours straight without a single complaint. You see these people and you think, they are built differently. They are not human. You believe they possess a supernatural willpower that you could never hope to achieve. That belief is a lie. A comfortable lie you tell yourself to avoid a terrifying truth. The truth is, their secret was not having more willpower. Their secret was a system that made willpower irrelevant. They called it Gyoji no Michi, the path of the ascetic. A path so demanding that it burns away everything that is weak inside of you until all that remains is pure, unbreakable action. When you understand the 3 laws of this path, you will realize that the discipline you have been trying to build is a house made of paper. But be warned, this is not a life hack. This path does not offer comfort. It demands a sacrifice, the sacrifice of the person you are right now for the person you could become. Before we walk this path, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and join a community dedicated to becoming stronger. And tell me in the comments, what is the one thing in your life that demands this scary level of discipline? I will read every comment. Now, let us begin. Chapter 1. The Boy Who Loved Comfort. In a small village nestled by a river lived a young man named Kaido. Kaido was not lazy, but he was a worshiper of comfort. His father was a master potter, a man whose hands were rough from clay and whose patience was as deep as the river. He tried to teach Kaido the craft, but the boy's spirit was like soft, unfired clay. Kaido, his father would say, a pot is not made in an hour. It takes 1,000 turns of the wheel, a steady hand, and a patient heart. Kaido would try. He would sit at the wheel, feel the cool clay, and for 10 minutes he would be focused. But then his back would ache. His mind would wander to the taste of sweet rice cakes or the warmth of the sun outside. He'd make an excuse. "Father, I need more water," and then disappear for an hour. His creations were always flawed, lopsided, cracked, or simply abandoned. The pattern of his life was the pattern of his pottery, a good start, followed by a collapse. One year, the rains did not come. The river shrank, the fields turned to dust, and a quiet desperation fell over the village. The only hope was the annual tribute to the mountain shrine, a set of 10 flawless ceremonial vases to be filled with the last of the village's grain, an offering to the spirits for rain. For generations, Kaido's family had been entrusted with this sacred task. His father, now old and frail, could not do it alone. The responsibility fell to Kaido. "You must do this," his father whispered, his voice dry like the earth. "The village depends on it." For the first time, Kaido felt the cold grip of real pressure. He worked for days. He ignored the ache in his back. He resisted the call of the sun. He focused, driven by fear. And he succeeded. He created 9 perfect vases. As he worked on the 10th and final vase, a wave of relief washed over him. He was almost done. He could already taste the praise, feel the comfort of success. In that moment of premature celebration, his hand slipped. A tiny, almost invisible wobble. He ignored it, finished the vase, and placed it in the kiln to be fired. When he opened the kiln the next morning, 9 vases stood perfect. The 10th had a hairline crack running down its side, a fatal flaw. It was useless. There was no more time, no more clay of that quality. He had failed. Not because he couldn't do the work, but because at the final moment, his mind had sought comfort instead of maintaining discipline. The shame was a physical weight, heavier than any clay. That night, unable to face his father or the village elders, Kaido fled. He ran towards the one place no one would follow, the cold, unforgiving slopes of Mount Akuma, the place where legends said the ascetic monks lived. He wasn't seeking wisdom. He was running from his own weakness. Chapter 2. The first law, the vow of unbreakability. After 2 days of climbing, exhausted and hungry, Kaido collapsed at the gate of a small, isolated temple. An old monk with eyes that seemed to hold the coldness of the mountain itself found him there. The monk's name was Jin. "Why are you here, boy?" Jin's voice was like grinding stones. Through tears, Kaido confessed his failure. He spoke of his love for comfort, his weak will, his broken vase, and his broken village. When he finished, the monk was silent for a long time. Then he spoke. "You think your problem is a lack of discipline. Your problem is that you believe you have a choice. You wake up every day and choose whether to be disciplined or to be comfortable. As long as there is a choice, the weak part of you will always have a voice." Kaido looked confused. "But there is always a choice." "Is there?" replied the monk. "The sun does not choose to rise, the river does not choose to flow. They simply are. The first step on the path of the ascetic is to kill choice. It is to make a vow so absolute that it transforms your identity." He led Kaido to a small, dark hall. In the center was a single candle. "This is the first law, Ketsudan, the vow of unbreakability. You will not promise to try. You will declare what you are. Trying is temporary. Being is permanent. What is the one thing you must become?" Kaido thought of the village, of his father. I must become a man who finishes what he starts, a master potter." "No," the monk said sharply. "That is the outcome." "What is the identity?" "It is simpler. It is deeper. You must become a man whose actions are as reliable as the sunrise." He handed Kaido a small knife. "You will make a small cut on your thumb and press it onto this scroll, sealing your new identity with your own blood. You use these ideas as sophisticated excuses to justify your desire for comfort. The scariest level of discipline is not about being a robot. It's about being honest. It's about admitting that your feelings are unreliable, your motivation is fleeting, and your mind is a master negotiator that will always argue in favor of the easy way out. The Gyoji no Michi works because it is a system of surrender. You surrender your fleeting moods to an unbreakable vow. You surrender your daily decisions to a fixed, unchanging path. You stop fighting with yourself every single day. Most people are not willing to do this. They say they want freedom, but what they practice is the slavery of endless negotiation with their own weakness. So the real question is not whether you can do it. The question is, are you willing to sacrifice the illusion of choice for the reality of power? Chapter 5. The Third Law. The Embrace of Pain. On day 82, Kaido was shaping a large, complex vase when the clay resisted. A sharp pain shot through his wrist. He pulled back, hissing. It was a sprain. The old Kaido would have stopped immediately. "I'm injured. I need rest." It was the perfect logical excuse. He went to Master Jin. "Master, my wrist is injured. I cannot work." The monk looked not at his wrist but into his eyes. The path is not about avoiding pain. It is about using it. This is the third and most important law, Kunin, the embrace of pain. "Pain is a signal," Jin continued. "Your pain is signaling a weakness in your technique. Instead of running from it, you must go towards it. Let the pain be your teacher. It will show you precisely where you are weak, where your form is wrong. Go back to the wheel. Work slower, work smaller. Find a way to move that does not aggravate the injury, but corrects the flaw that caused it. Pain is not a stop sign, it is a guidepost." A neuropsychologist from Stanford University, studying elite athletes and special forces soldiers, calls this adversarial growth. His research found that top performers don't just tolerate stress and pain, they actively reframe it as a necessary and desirable part of the process. Pain becomes data. Failure becomes a lesson. Obstacles become the training. Kaido returned to the wheel. The pain was sharp, but he listened to it. He realized he was using too much force from his wrist and not enough from his core. He adjusted his posture. He slowed down his breathing. He began to move in a new way, a more efficient, powerful way. He made smaller, simpler pots, but he did not stop. He did not break the unchanging path. By the time his wrist healed, his entire technique had been transformed. He was stronger, not in spite of the injury, but because of it. He had learned to welcome the obstacle, to find the lesson in the hardship. Chapter 6. The Man Who Returned from the Mountain. On the 100th day, Kaido stood before Master Jin. He was leaner, his eyes were clear, and his hands, though covered in calluses, were steady. In the shed behind him were hundreds of pots, each one simple, yet perfect. "The 100 days are over," the monk said. "You are free to go." There was no ceremony, no congratulations. The path was the reward. Kaido bowed deeply. "Thank you, master." He walked back down the mountain. He was not the same boy who had run up it. The village was even weaker than when he had left, but he felt no despair. He saw not a problem, but a task. He went to his father's workshop, gathered the best clay, and sat at the wheel. There was no hesitation, no internal negotiation. There was only the work. He worked for 5 days straight, his rhythm as constant as the turning of the earth. He created a new set of 10 ceremonial vases. They were more than perfect. They held within their form a sense of stillness, of immense quiet power. They were the work of a man who was no longer separate from his craft. When the villagers saw the vases, they saw hope. When they saw Kaido, they did not see the boy who loved comfort. They saw a man whose presence was as solid as the mountain he had descended. The rains did eventually come, but the real change had already happened inside the potter's workshop. Chapter 7. Your path begins now. Kaido's story is not about pottery. It is about the architecture of an unbreakable will. You can build the same structure in your own life. This is your action plan. First, choose your mountain. Select one and only one area of your life for this practice: your health, your business, your craft. Do not try to apply this everywhere at once. Be specific. Second, take the vow of unbreakability. Do not just promise yourself. Create a real ritual. Write down your new identity. I am a writer. I am an athlete. Tell someone you respect, someone whose opinion matters to you. Create real social stakes. Make it so that breaking your word would cause you genuine shame. Third, define your unchanging path. Design a simple, non-negotiable daily schedule for that one thing. Not a goal, but a practice. I will write for 45 minutes every day at 6 a.m. I will go to the gym at 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. The time and the action must be absolute, non-negotiable. Fourth, identify and embrace your necessary pain. What is the hardship you have been avoiding? Making the sales call, waking up early, pushing through the last set at the gym. That is your new teacher. Do not run from it. Go towards it. That is where the growth is. This is not easy. People will call you obsessed. They will say you are too rigid. They will not understand why you can't just relax. They will not understand that you have found a freedom they will never know, the freedom from your own weakness. The goal was never to become disciplined. The goal was to sacrifice the person who needed discipline in the first place. In his place, a new person is born, someone who doesn't have to choose to act because they have become the action itself. That is the scariest and most powerful level of discipline. If this message resonated with you, subscribe and become part of the TGR Flurby. Your path starts now. Thank you for watching. Be present, be powerful. We will see you in the next video.